right from the point of recruitment, selection, what is the importance of the job, the evaluation, what is the importance of the human resources planning, and how these human resources are basically analyzed, and what is the problem in case of human resources planning aspect, how to identify the gap in the human resources, then what is the recruitment process of the what is the recruitment process in case of the what is the recruitment process in case of the human resources, and how better these human resources are going to be recruited. Then selection. When once we completed the recruitment process, then we will go for the selection process. When once selection is done, he will be the employee of the organization, and in that particular sequence, basically, when once selection is complete, we have to train them towards the job. Then after the training, they will be going on performing their specific tasks, and when once the specific tasks are assigned, and when once the jobs are assigned, when they have the clarity about what is the objectives or what the organization derives from them, what is the organization structure, what type of activities he has to perform, what is the final result, and out of every job, whether you believe it or not, out of every job, the organization tries to derive some sort of benefit. We feel that this job is very simple. What is to do with that? This job is no more important for that particular organization. We feel, but it is very much ridiculous to think like that. Organizational jobs are so structured in such a way that for each specific job, there is a certain type of objectives are fixed. And at the same time, each job is pre-designed, predetermined with a specific objective, and that objective of the job is going to help for the achievement of the overall organizational objective. In this particular process of action, when we are talking about when we are talking about this particular process, then we have to identify what is the training aspect that is needed. Every employee must be trained. Even though, as I told you in the previous class itself, it is that it is not possible, even though how qualified he is or how best he is employed, how knowledgeable person he is, or he or she also includes at the same time. It is not possible for him to, as of just like that, he cannot perform the jobs. So, first of all, he must be trained about the organizational culture, organizational issues, and he must understand what is the nature of the organization, what is the objectives of his job, and how best these objectives are going to play an important role in the organizational culture, in the organizational objectives achievement, and so on and so forth. With this particular short introduction, then we have identified about the performance of the employee, performance of the training. I have discussed about that. When training is done with that, what are the various methods of training? That is on-the-job training methods, off-the-job training methods. Sometimes employees are put to job and they are trained when the jobs are not so critical in nature. Even for a small mistake, it is not going to commit any sort of losses, damages, or something. But if the job is crucial, if the job is very, very crucial, then off-the-job training is a must. For example, if pilot training, if you are appointing a person for the post of the pilot, how better he may be training off the job, it is not possible to give him a total training practice. These are the various aspects that we have to understand. Then, when once the training aspect is complete, then he will be put to the actual work. And as a matter of fact, when he comes to the actual work done, his performance is to be measured. How better he is able to perform. Performance measures are, once performance measures are made out, or once the performance is measured, how many types of performance measures are there? Actually, there are 4 or 5 methods of performance measures. That is also comes under the employee performance measurement, and at that particular minute of time, how best you are able to measure the performance. Who are the various persons that are employed to measure the performance of them? It is not very easy to say that an employee is very good, an employee is very poor, and so on. but at the point of time, an employee's performance must be measured against the specific standards. When once the employee performance is measured, then any sort of corrective action, that corrective action is to be done. So in the process of corrective action, we have to go by the, again, training process, or again, increasing of the job culture, and so on. When once putting on the responsibility of the employees again in the process of putting the higher level of responsibility on the employees, the various types of very recent modern methods came into sense. Various techniques like management objective. Instead of measuring the employee's performance against the standard hours, how many hours he worked, how much stability is achieved or not. That's called as management by objective. The person is able to manage this particular objective, he is said to be good at the employment. So in this case, team building, that means various aspects that are related to team spirit. How better an employee is able to manage with the other employees in the organization, that is team. So then after all this, we will come to the various aspects of management development program. Even the managers, not only the workers, even the managers also must be trained towards how to deal with the employees, or how to manage the employees, how better an employee has to do well. All these aspects are to be understood. So when once we are able to train the employees, we have to train the managers also in rating the employees, in managing the employees, in giving good benefits to the employees. So if you show a sense of belongingness to the employees, they also feel happy, and at the same time, this process is carried out in case of management development programs. As employee training program, management development program. All the methods which are used for the workers. In the case of training of the employee, like on-the-job training methods, off-the-job training methods, the same are used for the purpose of training the employee, management also. Again, vestibular training process, rating scales, factor comparison method, yesterday I discussed about, all these methods are useful for that. Then once management development programs are over, then we will come to the next unit, that is unit number 13. Yesterday we have discussed about the job evaluation process. Actually, job evaluation is the main important process of measuring the relative worth of the job. According to DeCenzo and Robbins, job evaluation is using the information of the job for a systematically analysis process or determining the relative worth of the job. How a job itself, not the employee here. So first of all, to determine or to evaluate or to give a specific wage, or to determine the scale of pay, or to determine the employee's salary, first of all, job is to be evaluated. How better a job is to be evaluated? What is the worth of the job? How better the job is creating how better the job is providing its role towards the achievement of the organizational objective. So when one's using of this particular information of job analysis to systematically determine the value of each job in relation to all other jobs within the organization. So here the point is to understand, within the organization only we have to decide, not with the other jobs. Within the particular organization, how better the jobs are. Which job is very, very important. Which job is lower level of importance. For example, a finance manager job, he will constantly face the pressure of providing finances. How better he can go with the various aspects, and all these things are to be identified. At the same time, production manager, he is more worried about how he has to procure the material, how to use this particular material for the better results, how cost effectively he can produce the goods, and how far these goods are useful or successful for the purpose of gaining more amount of profit. All these are the responsibilities of the production manager. Sales manager, He must be able to maintain the sales for a very longer period of time. Manager tension is very high. So, like that, out of all these three, what we have discussed right now, the finance manager, production manager, sales manager, whose job is very much critical, whose job is very much worth, and the same time supervisors and the lower lead. Finally, the work out of the workmen also, various supervisors, the senior workers, and all that needs to be levied, understood. If the worker does not produce a quality good, or if the worker is not motivated, or if the worker is not fully involved in providing the goods at a high quality, of course, if he may be penalized, finally he may be retrenched from the employment at the last. But definitely, if one product or two products is a failure in the market, definitely that will have an impact over the organization. In such a way, each job, right from the what my point in this is that each job, right from the worker to the manager to the sales manager to the director, every job will have its own strengths and weaknesses. Every job will have its own main will have its own superiority, will have its own dependency. So finally, to conclude on this, job evaluation, it is not the job, it is the people to, it is not the people, it is the job to be evaluated. The basic information for the job analysis is obtained from the job analysis part. We will analyze the job first, then we will provide the job evaluation. Job evaluation is carried out by a group of individuals, not by a single person. If we give an opportunity to a single person to evaluate, there is a possibility of bias. So, and this is the basis for providing the scales and provides a basis for evaluating a rational way structure in that. Criteria for the job evaluation aspect and objectives of job evaluation. These are the most important essay questions towards your examination point of view also. Secure minimum accurate wages, and each occupation of the job is to identify, establish standard procedures for determining the relative worth of each job, and relative worth of each job is to identify, and then to promote fair and equitable remuneration to all the employees at all levels, and rate pay of each job is identified. These are the various aspects that are to be covered in the question. To ensure fair and equitable wages are to be provide information, provide right information to the appropriate bodies as and when necessary. And essentials of yesterday's class, proper classification of the jobs is needed. The evaluation process is to publicize, and employees must be given clear-cut understanding about the job evaluation process. And it is very clear that subordinates have superior clarity towards what jobs they are going to evaluate, how the jobs are going to be evaluated, and so on. Before going for the job evaluation, also must be given a proper training towards the process of job evaluation. Then principles of job evaluation, that is the principles of job rate, principle of clarity, principle of requisites, principle of uniformity, cooperation, work time, and participation. All these aspects are to be considered while dealing with the principles of job evaluation. Then methods of the job evaluation process. First one is the ranking method. Each job is ranked against the other jobs. Whether a particular job that is more useful, whether a particular job that is less important, that is compared between the two jobs. Two jobs are basically compared. Ranks are based on these various aspects, or ranks are determined by the jobs on the various aspects. So there are four methods or sub-methods are discussed in this. That is benchmark technique and committee method, organizational chart method, paired comparison method. These methods are basically to be understood about this one. And then finally, we have given about grading of each job. Then each job is graded against none. First grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4. Now this grading we are seeing about in the Public Service Commission. Grade 1 officers, grade 2 officers, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4 class. In the same way, each job is considered to be, or each job is considered to be a grade, and 4 or 5 grades are established, and on the basis of that, we are going to provide. Then factor comparison method. In that particular method, factors are identified for each particular job. Each jobs are basically divided into various subcategories. Jobs are created into various subcategories. When once jobs are created into subcategory, each job is given as a factor. What is the best factors out of that? That is skill, commitment, all that factors are compared, and on the basis of the factor comparison method, each job is subdivided into a combination of various factors, and all these factors put together, they will be considered as a one team or one basket. And finally, all these factors are given an individual rating. Say, for example, mental requirement, skill requirement 4, physical requirements 1.2, responsibility taking 3. Like that, if working conditions, if I give 1, the rates are considered, and pay, how much important that the pay aspect. Like that, different a factor is made out of that, and if a job having a higher factor, that will be considered as a key job. Then point rating method is also taken into consideration. It is also rating is done on the basis of the existence factors, that is education, initiative, responsibility, safety towards others, and work with others. Like that, different parameters are made out, and then we will consider whether the job is worth or not. Advantages of the job evaluation process: that is gives objectivity, helps in reviewing the job rates, helps in fixing up new jobs, and so on and so forth. But the job evaluation is not free from the problem. There are various problems in there. Every job evaluation process is done by a human being only. As and when involvement of the human being is there, that definitely makes out the point of this one, where it leads to the bias. However systematic it may be, how systematic it may be, there is existence of the various factors. Which factor is more important? Which factor is less important? That cannot be considered in this particular. Various points that you have to understand in case of the job evaluation process. This job evaluation is very, very important lesson. Actually, this is the basis for the next